So I have a friend whose father was in the navy, and like she was born in Vishakhapatnam. Then she had to quick, like very soon shift to Mumbai. एक साल वहाँ रहे, and then Tamil Nadu, then Cochin, and then to Delhi, and finally they settled in Delhi. You are someone whose family belongs to the armed forces. Your father was in the navy. You are from Rajasthan. So I would love to understand from you, how did you manage these transitions of location in your life, and how has changing cities impacted your perspective of looking at things right now in your life? Because ऐसा होता है कि like I am also someone who was born in a different city, but 2 months after my birth my dad shifted. My dad's job made us shift somewhere else. So वहाँ पे फिर वी स्टेड फॉर 8 years, एंड देन जब तक वहाँ पे दोस्त बने, जब तक वहाँ पे कुछ समझ में आया, तब दूसरे शहर में शिफ्ट हो गए. सो डिड दैट हैपन फॉर यू एज वेल, एंड इफ येस देन हाउ डिड यू नेविगेट दीज ट्रांजिशंस?
Uh, I think I personally love the idea of not staying at a place for a long time. I don't remember particularly resisting or disliking the idea of shifting around. So much so that I have shifted like 5 houses in the last 5 years, 4 years. And I remember last time I told my dad, which was 3 months ago, that Dad, I'm planning to shift. He's like, again? And he actually said this. He's like, beta, itne ghar to humne bhi nahi badle. I was like, I know. So I personally have, I think, enjoyed the idea of shifting around, and I think subconsciously, I have enjoyed that, and I think it just remains. It's something that's um, I mean, this idea of, I was in a KV and then being, in a different KV, shifting to different KVs, making a different set of friends. Um, it's sort of, I mean, I think what it has done to me as a person, it has just made me feel like my home is wherever I am, you know. So I'm not attached to a particular place or a particular set of people. I just like even today I travel so much on my own, and I never feel like I'm out of place, or I never feel like, oh shit, मैं कहाँ आ गई. I just adjust and adapt to a new country, to a new place so quickly, and I feel like I'm a part of it. I'm sure this is something that is come from just the idea, just the way we kept shifting houses when I was little, and I think also what I must mention that the shifting, or just having to set your foot in a new world, never felt very difficult or very different, because I think I was in a KV from first to 12th. So KV as a school, Kendra Vidyalaya as a school, is made up of similar people everywhere, right? So I think that's one factor that sort of made me feel like, ha matlab, you would spend so much time in a school during your, when you were a child, कि आपका आधा टाइम वहीं पे बीतता है. And yet so every KB felt like the same. So I think that also really added to it, not just suddenly being like, oh my god, मैं कहाँ आ गई. So I think what it has again done to me is the fact that I'm very, as I mentioned, very adaptable to new environments, to new people. Defense per se uh, gives you an idea of a community, living in a community, and then KV sort of adds to that, because you have kids from all stratas, right? There is no, you are not divided in a class system way, which I personally quite despise. There is no caste or class system that sort of exists in the defense atmosphere and in a KV. So I think I grew up with a very open-minded approach and attitude towards people around me, and there's literally, to the extent of, it was something that I didn't even consciously have to work on, because everyone around you from all different states, from all different castes and communities, are living together, as a community कि आपको कभी वो ख्याल ही नहीं आता कि अच्छा ये हैं ये तो वो हैं. You never bother about their religion. You never bother about, you never get into these conversations. You know, you're always a part of each other's life, and you know, in different ways. And I think that's something that's really stayed with me. And even today I think it stays in a very, very beautiful way. That टुडे आई एम इनफैक्ट डिफेंस से बाहर निकलने के बाद मुझे थोड़ी सी ये चीजें सुनने में आती हैं, यू नो, व्हेन आई लुक अराउंड, व्हेन आई सी द वे थिंग्स आर अराउंड, कि अच्छा ये भी कोई चीज होती है. डिफरेंट रिलीजन्स मैटर, डिफरेंट कास्ट मैटर, but otherwise I just love how subconsciously sort of made me a person who's very secular in her head, who's very who just treats people as people. Yeah, there's an inherent sense of equality that I sort of go around in my life with, and just treat another human as human.
Right, absolutely. But like, did you come across any culture shocks when you landed in Bombay for the first time, coming from Rajasthan?
So I was born in Bombay actually. I was born in Colaba. There's a very famous naval hospital called Ashwini. So I was born there. And then we would travel to my gaon, which is in Rajasthan, for our summer vacation. You know, so 2 months of our summer vacation had to be in the gaon, because my dad obviously was the eldest, and you know, he would get those 2 months to sort of go back and help the parents out and be there for his sisters and brothers and all that. And so yeah, like the family just went along. So um, I would, in fact, I mean, of course, I would have problems, little challenges adjusting to the gaon ka environment after being in a city. But I think I also love the idea of being there, and I love the idea of being there even more today. You know, and I very regularly, consistently visit my gaon. But those 2 months of extreme heat, of years of no electricity, you know, in my nani's gaon especially, of you know, transitioning to a stage where we moved out of a little out of the village, and we built our own well and all of that, you know. So we built a house around that. So I have, you know, we used to have cattle at home. We used to have buffaloes and cows and goats and camels, you know. So we used to literally, I mean, I literally, even though there were some parts of it that were very difficult to adjust to. Like I remember one particular thing that bothered me the most, I think, was the taste of water. So I was born in Bombay, and I was used to a certain taste of water. Every time I would go to my gaon, and every gaon there sort of has a different taste of water. अभी तो वहाँ पे, you know, म्युनिसिपैलिटी का पानी आ गया है, नल वल लग गए हैं. It's better, but every area has a different taste of water. तो once the, you know, घर से वो होता ना, कूलर होता था ना, वो लेके जाते थे, you know, because we used to almost take 2 days to sort of reach. And after a point वो पानी खत्म हो जाता है, you know. And I would be not drinking, because I'm like, I just can't have another sip of any water that doesn't taste like Bombay water. So I used to have real struggle with water. This struggle was real, trust me. You know, I would be so sensitive to it that I actually will not be able to have it. Like my nani's gaon, I remember, has khara pani, something called khara pani, which is basically salt water. Like there's like, when you make nimbu pani there, you don't have to add namak. There's enough namak in the this thing, you know. So that was very difficult to anyway consume. But so I used to wait, and then we have something called kund. Kund is basically जहाँ पे आप rain water store करते हैं, right? So I remember my nani's place. I used to wake up at night just to be able to have that kund ka pani, because at night, for some reason, it would taste very close to Bombay ka pani. You know, so that would be like one of my happy moments ki, oh God, finally pani, you know. And I also remember बहुत गर्मी होती थी, right? Of course, like in Rajasthan, May June are like crazy. So I remember, and us time hamare, like there was no coolers and stuff and all that, you know. There was hardly a fan. There was not even a fan actually in any of the houses. And I remember I used to take that odni na, jo wo Rajasthani odni hoti. It's made of very thin material, like a malmal sort of a thing. So I used to go, I used to, sit under a tree and I would like keep पानी का बाल्टी रखती थी मैं and I would keep soaking the chunni. So वो ठंडा हो जाता था. I would odo it on me so that the thanda breeze, it becomes thanda. It'll dry again. Then I will, again put it in water. And I would do this all afternoon. This is how I would kind of survive the afternoons. And sometimes नानी के यहाँ पे everyone still makes fun of it. घड़े होते हैं ना, घड़े ठंडे होते हैं, right? So when I would be like really feeling super hot and I can't take it anymore, I would just like, lapeto myself around the ghada so that the thunder comes to me. So yeah, I mean, I have so many of these memories of my gaon. So yeah, I mean, if there was any uh, if I had to adjust to something, it was to the village life, when I was a child, because they were just harsh conditions in terms of what I was used to here. Not that we had luxury here, we had very basic fan and all of that, but still, it's still something. So, but yeah, I think, and that's why today, after we I crossed 12, we didn't have to go to Gaon anymore, like together, then it's about okay, कौन-कौन से बच्चे जा सकते हैं, then you can sort of escape that. And I remember since my 12th, उसके बाद से like मैं अब जब भी जाती हूँ गाँव, I make sure it's in winters, you know. So yeah, and I was there during New Year's, and it's uh, it's amazing. Like it's amazing the kind of balance of a city and village life that I've sort of grown up with during my growing up years, and it particularly helps me as an actor today. Like, and I can see all of it coming very handy to me because there are so many things I can do, which are not like alien to me. Like living in a village or adjusting to the environment around or playing a village girl is not a कि ये क्या होता है ऐसे कैसे होता है I don't have to start from scratch. I just it's in me, like it's somewhere in the memory, it's somewhere something that I'm just comfortable with. So, and I think the overall attitude of being comfortable with all of it, so I think when as an actor, as an artist especially, I feel that आपने जितनी लाइफ एक्सपीरियंस की होती है ना at different levels, it just it just adds that much more depth to you. So yeah.
I'm guessing during these life experiences, you must have come across like some of the worst stereotypes about Rajasthani being a Rajasthani, right? So,
Yeah, I mean, yeah, okay. So expand more.
like for example, like people have this habit of saying, "Ki, acha, you are a Gujarati." Oh, so there is already a notion about it. Ki, acha, if you are a Rajasthani, so there is already a notion about something. But then you realize that no, this is not what we do. This is not
Oh
something
yeah.
ki, matlab, this is not the only thing with which you can define being a
Yeah.
Rajasthani or a Gujarati or a Maharashtrian. So did you
Yeah.
come? Do
Yeah.
you still come across any of those stereotypes?
So it sometimes comes up in terms of food. The moment you tell them you're Rajasthani and they go like, "Oh, lal mas," and I'm like, "Our family has been vegetarian. Like, हमारे गांव में मतलब we have never touched even an egg. So we come from a hardcore vegetarian family. Because people forget that lal mas is something. So there are Rajputs, right? And then there are Jats. So we are Jats. Jats are like the farmer family, the farmer clan, right? And the farmers, Jats are vegetarians by, traditionally, like they are traditionally vegetarians. And Rajputs, of course, have their, lal mas and all of that. So suddenly people go like, lal mas. And I'm like, no, like we are not even allowed egg in the house. And then even today, like, even today when we go for, like, I was there for a function, nothing, like there is not even a question of any non-vegetarian or even an egg coming home. And then same with dal bati. Dal bhati, and I'm like, dal bhati, and I'm like, we do more of dal churma, and not dal bhati, because it's like people don't understand, but and also when you say Rajasthani, they're like, oh, you're a Marwadi. I'm like, no, you know, like Marwadis are also Rajasthanis, but then there are other Rajasthanis as well. Like there are other castes as well. So I'm a Jat, So yeah, like stuff like this, and like there's so many people forget that Rajasthan is a huge state, and there are so many regions, that like I come from Shekhawati, which is more of Jats and all of that, right? And then there is a Marwad area and all of that. So yeah, these few things, few kind of conversations we kind of get into, and also like every time people ask me where you from, and I say Rajasthani, like no, you don't look like a Rajasthani, and I'm like, well, I'm a pure Rajasthani, if that means anything. So like it's amazing how people, and we all do that to each other in terms of, oh, you're from South, you don't look like a South Indian or whatever, Keralite or whatever, whatever. So yeah, there is always this people think I'm a Punjabi or I'm from maybe a Kashmiri or something something, but Rajasthan is something that people just don't identify me with, for some reason.
Yeah, unfortunately, this this is something that has happened with me for the longest time ever. Like I've heard people say to me on my face, "Oh, you must be from Odisha." I'm like, "Okay, why?" यार तू देखना. मैं कहा क्या देखूं? अरे मतलब मैं कहा I don't know. Tell me. I don't know. Tell me how am I from Odisha? और यार तू तो सिर्फ
Where are you from?
I'm from Lucknow. And
Oh, I am so glad I didn't do this at the beginning of the interview because I like to flaunt the little Bengali and Punjabi and Marathi and all I know, okay? So I do this to everybody. So her name is Porush, right? So it's almost like Purushka, there's a little awe to it, which is very Bengali. So I was almost like and I always start this, তুমি কি Bangla? Like I don't even say, are you Bengali? At the moment I get a feeler that this person could be Bengali, I am on my flaunting spree, and I'm like, "Tumi ki Bengali?" So I'm glad I didn't didn't do this to
no,
you.
that's absolutely fine. But fun fact, for the longest time ever, my Twitter handle was not a Bengali. I literally had to keep it that way
Oh,
because
really?
yeah,
See, there you are. So I wouldn't
yeah,
have been so off the mark,
that's
but of
a
course I would have joined the general population in
no,
just being like,
no, that's
so
absolutely fine.
yeah.
But I'm glad that you mentioned food because it's like South Indian food is not just idli sambar or dosa. Similarly, if you talk about Rajasthani food, lal mas, okay, yes, dal bati, yes, but it
There's
doesn't
a
just
lot more to it.
yeah, exactly, it doesn't just
Yeah.
end there.
Yeah, it starts there. No, it doesn't even start there. Actually, it's somewhere in the middle, kind of a thing. Yeah. In terms of food, sorry, what was your question?
Yeah, I'm glad that you're already elaborating on the food side because yes, I was
Yeah.
going to ask you ki if you can expand our palate, and you're already doing it, so please take over. Yeah.
मेरे सामने मेरा लंच रखा हुआ है and you're talking about food, so मैं अभी सौंफ के पानी से काम चलाऊंगी. So see, I come from a very humble, simple background. We didn't have, you know, a luxurious lifestyle, not even close to it. And we were just at a very basic level. So, of course, I mean, eaten the bajra rotis, the bajre ka khichdi. I've eaten something called lapsi. Lapsi is a halwa made of atta, and they generally make it in a lohe ka kadhai. So by the time the halwa is made, it is close to like black color. Okay, so I remember that.
So sorry to interrupt you. I There was a friend of mine जो स्कूल में यही लेके आता था
Really?
एंड हम ये कहते थे कि यार ये ना चॉकलेट वाला हलवा लाया. आई यूज्ड टू से दैट.
Exactly. See, you know what I mean, the color.
या
And then, of course, I have done a lot of like it's called jatis. Okay, when people will hear me say jatis, it's almost like like a koi NRI is trying to say jati. We have jatis around. No, it's jati. If I have to be very like true to this, and इस पे सांगरी होती है ना.
खेर सांगरी वाली सांगरी.
हाँ
ओके.
हाँ, सो सांगरी लगती है इस पे. Okay, and when sangri is raw, आप उसकी सब्जी बनाते हैं, उसका रायता बनाते हैं, and all of that. जब वो सूख जाती है, then it turns into a sort of a fruit. हम उसको बोलते हैं sangri, and we used to call it khokha. Okay, so it's like this, it becomes this crunchy, sweet thing, you know. So aap usko tod ke you eat it as a fruit, right? So that is something. Then I've done, you know, pichu. There's something called pichu, which is wo titia. It's called titia. Okay, again, now titia ka achar hota hai usually, but titia is also made into a sabzi sometimes. It's also made into a raita. And then again, when titia turns like it becomes ripe, it turns into a green color, solid green color, and then it turns into a nice pink kind of a fruit. और उसके अंदर ऐसे yellow color का pulp होता है बीज के साथ. And these are like little छोटे ones, you know, bear के size के types. And that is called pichu. So again, that's something I remember. I used to, you know, we used to pluck off the trees and all that. We would eat that. There is, I mean, our standard breakfast used to be, um, because we were grown up in cities. So bajra is something that, मतलब हम ज़्यादा खा नहीं पाते थे. Like I can't have too much of bajra. मतलब कभी कभार I can eat it. So mainly it used to be गेहूं का roti at home with some pyaz. I used to love that. Wow, my mouth is watering while I'm talking. So breakfast used to be, breakfast is called kalewa. Okay. And basically roti, whatever. It could be bajre ka roti, gehu ka roti, and kabhi kabhi raat ki bachi hui roti. Because
Yeah,
wo bach jati hai, what do you do with it?
leftovers
And
are the
then
best.
they are the best. And then roti, so you can make like a one dish out of it. So आपने roti में उसको चूर के उसको उसमें छाछ डाली, छा rabdi I'm sure you've heard of. So rabdi is something that, you know, we again I remember, and I even like for a long time I would hear our mornings would be like we would be sleeping, but by the time we would hear these sounds of, you know, my mom going like वो छाछ को वो करते हैं ना, like वो पूरा हाथ से and all that, she would do that. So chha rabdi was a very common, it was like available in abundance, you know. So then उसमें चूर के छा राबड़ी में आप रोटी डालिए, उसमें आप प्याज, कटे हुए प्याज डालिए, you know, जो हम खेत से लेके आते थे. And it is one of the most delicious and fulfilling, you know, things that I've eaten in my life. And then we would have something called like we would do khichdi. You know, khichdi would be actually sometimes, as I said, with bajra as well. Bajre की खिचड़ी बहुत अलग होती है. And then उसमें बहुत सारा ऐसे घी डाल के, and then शक्कर डाल के, and then um, we would have fresh milk because we had our own, you know, cows and buffaloes. So शाम को दूध निकलता था, and you know, I the taste of the milk that I have tasted, you know, when I was growing up, I have never been able to like find it. Like it's something, you know, today we talk about organic, and I'm like, damn, like I'm paying so much to just eat organic. Like I was eating and growing up on organic throughout my life in my gown, especially, you know, like fresh doodh and fresh chas, and you'd be like, what is this? I want that, and I want that, you know. But now I'm like, damn, yeah, why, you know, I should have just so yeah. When you talk about organic, that's what it is, and I've tasted that, and for me to now I mean, I'm at that stage of life when I'm drinking lactose-free milk, you know. So, so it's like even now, of course, there's nobody in village now. My grandfather passed away last year, and my dadi is with us. So अभी हम लोग सब गए थे. तो जब सब आते हैं, कोई आता है, तो घर वर खुलता है, सब कुछ होता है, you know. But we don't have our own cattle or nothing is there. So we have अब हम दूध खरीद के लेके आते हैं गांव वालों से या whatever. You know, people just help out and they just, you know, keep that extra one for you. But like this time I went and you know, I had the milk and all of that, and I'm like, it's not the same, you know. So I was carrying my little lactose-free milk, and I would make chai out of that, and so yeah, I mean, things are very different now, but yeah, it was. One of the things that I have really enjoyed, and I still cannot forget the taste of that. My nani used to make कैरी का सब्जी, कच्चे आम का सब्जी, गुड़ डाल के. Oh my God, like the day we used to have that for lunch, especially. I mean, we would be like, हम लोग मतलब रोटी खत्म हो गई है, सब हो गया है, हम लोग वो मतलब वो गुठली बच गई है हमारे हाथ में, गुठली को भी हम लोग उसमें उसकी जो करी बचती है ना मीठी वाली, उसमें डुबो डुबो के वी आर चाटोइंग एंड वी जस्ट नॉट गेटिंग डन विद इट एंड यू नो इट्स एंड देन आई इन टर्म्स ऑफ मीठा आई रिमेम्बर पतासे इज समथिंग दैट you know was given to everybody. You know, there used to be there's more ravery now, but I remember patase a lot. um, there's something called again, oh, petha. Okay, we call it petha. It's not the agre wala petha. Okay, it is like a balu shahi. Okay, but in a more like a square forms and rectangle forms, basically you make these chunks and then you same thing like उसको आप मैदे का बनता है, उसको आप फ्राई करते हैं और उसको आप चीनी में डिप करते हैं, चीनी के सिरप में. So it's like a balushahi but in a different shape. And I have grown up it's हमारे यहाँ पे उसको पेठा बोलते हैं. The you know गांव में हमारे उसके पेठा बोलते थे, and that's something I even today when I go, I make sure there is, you know, I get petha from the village and it's something I love. This time when I went for the function, halwai वगैरह आए थे, so they were making, you know, mithais at home only, and they were like taking out these garam garam pethas and they were lying there, and I was like, yeah, so yeah, like few things like these. I personally hate the laddu that we used to that we make for shadis and all that. They are not like they are motichur laddus technically, but they are just a taste that I could never get used to, you know. So people love those laddus, and I remember when we used to get those laddus back from Gaon and give it to friends and all, and you know, guests at home, and they would just love it.
Yeah.
And I somehow never like, I was like, I don't like it.
Right. Thank you for this culinary experience. I'm sure it's really enlightening, and now I can also maybe someday flaunt this to someone. So yeah, thank you. Thanks to that. Yeah. Uh, how do you spend your time on a script when it is offered to you for a first time? Because you have such a wide, like we are talking about palette of food. Similarly, you have such a huge, wide palette of roles that you have done, the characters that you have played. So how do you make that choice to portray someone on screen after coming across a story?
So I mean, it's a decision purely based on the script, and when I say script, in terms of, I think the story has to appeal to me, the basic subject of the film or whatever has to appeal to me. That what are we talking about? What is at the core of the script? The second thing I do look for is what am I doing in the film? You know, what is my role like? What is my character like? What does she have to offer? What are the things I can uh, create for her, and how much can I bring add life to her? You know, I think it's something that is very very important to me. Thirdly, of course, the whole script overall in terms of its writing, in terms of the screenplay, of course, but also the dialogues. I feel that there's story, screenplay, dialogues for a reason. You know, because sometimes the story is nice, but the screenplay could be off. You know, or dialogues could be off. So it has to all sort of come together to make it um, it has to come together. You know, that's when you have films or anything which is you talk about writing, and you know it just falls in place in terms of at the writing level. So there are also times that आई फील दैट ओके, मतलब कुछ 19-20 होता है तो उसमें मुझे लगता है कि ठीक है, इसको हम लोग वर्कशॉप के टाइम पे, व्हेन वी सिट टुगेदर, व्हेन वी सॉर्ट ऑफ टॉक अबाउट इट, maybe there are some things that we can sort of work out, but for that it's very important that the person who's in front of me, the writer or the director, especially the director, is very open to the idea of collaborating, because आपको लगता है कि आप उसके साथ कुछ कर सकते हैं, but if you're not given that freedom and if you're not allowed that space to put your point forward, then it's like, okay, like what am I doing here? So my point is not that you agree to everything I say, but are you open to it? Are you open to a discussion kind of a space? And I think the director, again, like someone who's whose vision am I following? You know, how visionary is the person? How clear is the person? How talented is the person in terms of what he's trying to do? And most of the times, it's not, when especially when you do bigger projects and stuff, it's something that is not really in your control because you're like, because it's almost like take it or leave it, you know. He's not going to change, she's not going to change. You tell me if you want to be a part of it, and which is fair. So uske charo or you sort of maneuver. So yeah, these are few things that I sort of work on. But yes, ये जरूर होता है कि as an actor, I realize this and I understand this that the most freedom I do have, the most chances I do have to make a difference is with my character, you know. So even if sometimes the script is not up to the mark, is not so, and I realize that I don't, there are times that I realize that I don't need to go so into it, you know. I can just focus on my actor, my character, and do whatever I think I can do with it. That's also when I say yes to it. Because so yeah, so then my focus just becomes, focusing on my character and just doing what I can with it. And a lot of times it happens that um, sometimes people around me cannot see what I can see in terms of what I'll be able to do with the character, and where I'll be able to take it. And I think that's where that's also something that I sort of enjoy doing. Ki what you can't see and what you eventually see um, are two different things, and in a good way. So yeah, pretty much that.
Okay. You just mentioned about collaboration and how open someone is, especially the director, when it comes to collaboration. But I would also love to understand from the aspect of collaboration itself that how do you, like, after coming on board, no worries, no worries, no worries. Yeah. So, in terms of collaboration itself, I would love to understand, like, once you are on board, once you have decided that yes, this is a particular character that I want to play, this is something that appeals, and I'm aligning with the vision of the director. I would also like to understand how, as an actor, do you collaborate with the cinematographer, the editor, the costume designer? Because oftentimes the conversation revolves around actor director, actor director, but I also feel that it's like there are so many more people who are behind the camera, and you as an actor, I'm sure, must be like, when how does that go on with how do you coordinate with the cinematographer? Are you there when the edit room जहाँ पे rushes भी देखे जा रहे हैं और शायद जो final edits हो चुके हैं, are you there as well? How is it with you and the costume designer? So these what how are these collaborations happening with these people and you as an actor? That is something I would love to understand.
Yeah, sure. So I do feel that an actor-director relationship is the most important relationship when it comes to an actor. I feel that my main person is my director. Okay, so that is an equation that I focus on the most. Now, as far as along with that, what I get very, very involved is costume designing and my hair makeup. These two departments I'm working in tandem with, because I also believe that, and it doesn't come from a space of, oh, I need to know what I'm wearing. No, of course you'll get to see what you're wearing, but I have a lot of understanding of characters and what they should look like. It's almost like when I'm prepping, for the role, when I'm reading, when I'm, discussing it with my writer director, it's almost like I start seeing the character, in terms of what she'll look like, and what will she be wearing, and then what kind of hair she should have, what kind of, what is how what would she look like, what should her makeup be. It's almost like it's a very spontaneous and organic thing that happens as I'm reading, as I'm understanding the character more. So these two things are something that I don't need to make an extra effort, but they generally come out. And depending on how open the director is, I get involved with hair, makeup, and costume, and I like totally work in terms of uh, creating the character visually with these departments. The color palette is something that, of course, is something that I don't interfere with. I can give my suggestions, but it's something that I'm not usually worried about because it's a director, DOP, and a production designer that sort of work together to create the color palette and how visually what is the visual tone of the film and all that. तो उसमें मेरा ऐसा कोई कंट्रीब्यूशन होता नहीं है और मुझे लगता है जरूरत नहीं है. तो मैं ऐसे ही जबरदस्ती अपनी उंगली हर जगह नहीं घुसाती हूँ. Secondly, with my DOP, I am so I'll tell you a couple of things that I do not do on the set. I never look at the monitor after a shot. From the first shot to the last shot, you will never see me in front of the monitor. I will never check the frame. I will not have my people go and check the frame. The hair makeup are supposed to do their job, go and see if everything is okay from their perspective. The DOP is doing their job, and I never I mean, I have a very friendly equation with them. I do sometimes ask for a little understanding of when I understand the film visually, like the visual tone of the film in terms of the colors, and आपको एक दो दिन में आपको समझ आ जाती है. And this is something that I've started doing where I discuss with the DOP a little bit कि what is the kind of makeup or what will work for your kind of lighting, you know how do you want it, like what will show, what will not show, and all of that. How are you planning to shoot it? Just a very small discussion so that my hair makeup is DOP friendly. Pata chala sometimes you do makeup hair and it just the lighting is so different that what you were wanting to create just falls flat because the hair makeup and the DOP are clashing or they have not had a conversation. So I sort of then I push my hair makeup team to be like, DOP is your best friend. I'm not going to go and ask him, is it okay? Do I look okay? It's your job, right? If there's anything comes other that he needs or she needs, you have a conversation. It's your department completely. So I really don't get into that. When I'm on a set, I believe that everyone's here to do their job to the best of their ability. And there is I don't need to go into everything. And how I'm being shot and how I'm looking is not really my concern, because I think there is a director for a reason. It's his vision, and I think director works very closely with the DOP. So they clearly are on the same page and they know what they're doing, right? So I don't need to keep looking for validation or keep asking questions. Is it okay? Is it not okay? It's really not my concern. In a good way, it's unnecessary just stepping the line and asking someone. It's and I'm sure that a lot of DOPs also get irritated by that. कि क्या है यार? Even directors get irritated. So I never cross that line. I never check the monitor. I never go for edits. I Once I've done my job as an actor, uh, if after a shot, if my director tells me I'm good, very rarely I will feel the need for key, can I try one more? But I generally don't because if my director has got and he's happy with it, I'm happy. It's not my film. I can't see what he sees. So I have to just learn to like collaboration doesn't mean interference. Stepping the line. There's a very what I mean. So I make sure that I respect everyone's job and what they're doing. As an actor, I never check edits. I never ask, can I see the film? No. Again, it's not my job. I think no matter how big I become, unless it's a film I'm producing, which will happen, soon enough, then I will go so into everything because that's exactly what I'm here for. Then everything becomes my concern. So there are times that most of the times I end up seeing my work on the main screening day, not knowing क्या रखा है, क्या निकाला है, कैसे लग रहा है, कुछ नहीं. मैंने अपना काम कर लिया, सबको अपना काम करने दो, अब जो भी है it's out of my hands. People will do what they do with it. So yeah, that's how I function around all of this.
Gotcha. Great. Uh, as an audience member, we get to, like, when it comes to appreciating an actor's performance on the screen, mostly we, the audience members, rely on moments when the actor is either sobbing, screaming, or laughing like a maniac. Like, these are some of the common gateways for people like me, for the audience, for the masses, to judge an actor's performance. क्योंकि मैंने खुद ये
I don't think you should be counting yourself in that category. I think you know better than that.
नहीं,
So
okay,
yeah.
thank you so much. But I have seen people around me who, and this has happened, मतलब multiple times. This is not, and I'm not blaming the audience, because that's how most of us react while watching a film. Ki if an actor is breaking down, or if an actor is angry, or if an actor is, playing the role of a villain, so that is mostly वो जो छोटे छोटे मोमेंट्स होते हैं, यही पे हम कहते हैं कि यार कितनी अच्छी एक्टिंग करी है, यार कितनी अच्छी एक्टिंग करी है. बट आई समटाइम्स फील दैट इट इज़ अ लिमिटेड पर्सपेक्टिव, इट इज़ अ लिमिटिंग पर्सपेक्टिव ऑफ जजिंग. लाइक, अगर आप सिर्फ ये देखोगे कि अच्छा वो रोया बहुत अच्छा तो एक्टिंग अच्छी है, या फिर अगर आप देखोगे कि यार वो तो ऐसे हंस रहा था, दैट इज, मतलब क्या एक्टिंग करी है. बट देन I think somehow it becomes a limiting perspective. So as a professional actor, I would love to learn from you, like, how should the audience rightly judge the performance of an actor on screen?
Uh, so in your question, you said two things which I find a little contradictory. One
Okay.
is these major moments that you spoke about, right? Whether it's a crying scene or like a, breaking down scene or laughing, laughing out loud or being super angry or whatever. These are very in your face scenes, right? When I say in your face, emotionally, right? आपके लिए as an audience, we are seeing something on screen, and उसमें उस सीन में इमोशन बहुत क्लियर है. देयर इज नो, मतलब उसमें आपको अपना दिमाग नहीं लगाना है टू सी कि अच्छा इसके पीछे ये क्या है, इसके पीछे वो क्या है. आई मीन यू आर, इट्स सो क्लियर, द इमोशन इज सो राइट देयर
Right.
कि पीपल जज इट एट दैट लेवल. उनको जो दिखता है उनको वो समझ में आता है, एंड दे जज यू फॉर दैट.
Okay.
ओके, ये तो हो गया ऑफ अ जनरल जनता सॉर्ट ऑफ seeing something, and seeing it. Then you also mentioned that small moments. I feel that seeing these nuances and smaller moments in the film or in a thing are something that अगर मास का सपोज 80% मास, हम मासी ऑडियंस देखते हैं, तो 80% focuses on these मोटा मोटी scenes that they are seeing, right, and being like अरे वाह whatever. उससे जो एक सपोज जो ये स्मॉलर नुआंसेस आते हैं, छोटे छोटे मोमेंट्स आते हैं, ये आपकी कम जनता नोटिस करती है. देर आर फ्यू पीपल, देर मे बी से अबाउट 10-15% ऑफ दैट 100% who probably notice the finer moments, right? Which makes them go like, oh wow, okay, that was interesting. And then there's probably a 5% audience which is on a different trip, which is noticing things that you probably haven't done,
Yeah.
and they are connecting to that as well.
Correct.
They are like, ये बड़े बड़े सीन तो ठीक है, but they are finding those things that you have probably thought about during your preparation, that is probably somewhere at the back of your head, and in that 1 second or something fraction of a second, it comes through and they capture that, right? So उसकी परसेंटेज, उस ऑडियंस की परसेंटेज बहुत 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 कम होती है. When you say how do I tell them how to view a film or take what from it, it's a little difficult because we are all, cinema means different things to all of us. If you're a cinephile, if I'm a cinephile, there are not too many of us. The way we view something, a piece of cinema or watching something is not like, uh, it's something that means a lot to us. So the lens through which we sort of see it is not just the एक तो डिपेंड करता है कि आपकी एज अ ह्यूमन बीइंग सेंसिटिविटी क्या है, राइट? व्हेन आई से सेंसिटिविटी, सेंसिटिव बहुत लोग होते हैं, लेकिन अगेन किस लेवल पे सेंसिटिव होते हैं,
Right.
डू यू इन जनरल नोटिस the finer things in life, the little things in life, right? It's something that I won't say you're either born with or you're not born with. No,
Right.
it's also something that it's called mindfulness.
Yeah.
If I had to see it from this perspective, it's just taking notice of things that probably just the world just like doesn't even look at. You know, so it's a tendency you sort of develop, and you start viewing the world, through that lens. So I don't know if I can make people develop something like this. Like I usually when I see around, even in the industry and the way audiences react to things,
Right.
I do come to this conclusion that, and no offense to anybody, because we are all coming from how much we know and what we know, right?
Correct.
When it comes to cinema and films and all of that. But I have come to believe that, listen, हमारी ज्यादातर ऑडियंस को पहचान है नहीं of a good actor versus an average mediocre actor. You know, for us, most of the actors are good actors, right? Now, I have come to that realization. So I see it for what it is, and I understand कि अच्छा ऐसा क्यों हो रहा है? Like, it took me some time to be like, can they not see? Can they not see what I see? They cannot. And you know what? It's fine. And then there are people who will come to you and tell you some things about you have done for a particular role, and the smaller things that I'm talking about that they notice,
Right.
that probably even you don't, I mean, you do realize, because I think as an actor you're very, very aware, but you're not sure how many people will catch it. But then there are those people who come to you and they catch those things you thought will not be caught, and then they talk about that, and you're like, okay, that's interesting. Like, so when people come and talk to me about bigger impactful scenes,
Right.
and be like, oh, that was amazing and you were so good, and I'm like, thank you, thank you. And then when I have these people come to me and talk about those little things, I'm like, I like that. Like, oh wow, you noticed. One of my reactions is, oh, you noticed. Like, I'm more impressed by you than you are by me right now. You know what I mean? So I think being a part of cinema is great, but I think being on the other side, to develop your ability to judge uh, cinema, good cinema versus mediocre cinema or whatever, is also something I think I won't say it's a responsibility that lies with the audience, because I think it's amidst all the pressures we live in. I think it's unfair to be like, अब आप cinema देखना भी सीखो ढंग से, No, it's like ठीक है, you take what you take, you see it the way you want to see it, and enjoy it for what it is, right? And so yeah, but um, so yeah, I don't know how to make them. I think again, it's about what you're exposed to as well. The kind of
Right.
cinema you're exposed to. How much world cinema have you seen? Um, how much are you into films?
Yeah.
What is your eye? I also feel that artists at heart, um, from all fields, from all different fields, have that eye. आप अगर एक आर्टिस्ट हैं, आपका अगर एक वो सीड है आर्टिस्ट का, तो आपको वो फाइनल चीजें दिखती हैं.
Right.
You don't have to try and work towards it. And as you learn more, as you expose yourself to more things, you just become good at it, like anything else.
Right. It's a practice that you start doing and you become better at it.
Yeah, so it's almost
Yeah.
like you have to like that practice, like you have to have a genuine interest in cinema and films, and then you keep working at it. So yeah.
So, a friend of mine recently told me, and she knows that I do what I do with
एम
long
वो
live
फैन
cinema.
ऑन करना प्लीज, बहुत गर्मी लग रही है मुझे, ये वाला या वो फैन ऑन करना. Yeah.
Yeah. So, she told me that, and she knows that I do long live cinema and everything. So she told me that, dude, how do you, like, I'm not able to watch cinema. I can just watch films. I'm like, नहीं यार ऐसा नहीं है. You don't feel like that. So she was just talking about मेरे dad की मारुति,
So
which is
she
a,
said,
हाँ,
I can't watch, I can only watch films and not watch cinema. Like,
yeah,
what does
not
that
watch
mean?
cinema. So yeah, so she मैंने कहा okay, can you elaborate on that? She said, यार, for me, a film like मेरे dad की मारुति, I absolutely love that film. I'm like, okay, that's great, there is no problem in that. But she said that I am not able to observe and notice, and I feel that there are certain specific films that I need to watch like you watch. I'm like, okay, here's something that you can try. So you go, and मेरे डैड की मारुति इज़ अ फिल्म दैट शी हैज सीन हंड्रेड्स ऑफ टाइम्स. आई एम लाइक, आपको रटी हुई होगी, ठीक है. मैंने कहा ठीक है, बढ़िया है, आप उसको चलाओ. एंड फॉर वन मोमेंट, like when you start playing it, just try to switch your perspective a little bit and देखो कि what you are seeing in front of you, whatever it is that you are seeing in front of you, is actually captured by a camera. So I just told her that for one moment, try to switch your perspective and think like whatever you are noticing, whatever you are seeing, is being captured by a camera. सो एक बार आप वो स्विच करो पर्सपेक्टिव कि अच्छा, ये जो गाड़ी चल रही है, बंदा जा रहा है, जो भी है, ये कैमरा कैप्चर कर रहा है. सो देन फ्रॉम सीइंग इट यू विल नोटिस इट, एंड नोटिसिंग इज द फर्स्ट स्टेप टू क्यूरियोसिटी, बिकॉज दैट्स हाउ आई हैव लर्नड.
But I
आई
don't,
एम नॉट.
I personally don't know what comes first, curiosity or noticing.
So that's what I told her, that you don't have to pick up a film like, अरे आपको एक specific film उठानी पड़ेगी तभी. You pick up the film that is your absolute favorite. That is something that you have watched multiple times. Pick up a Hera Pheri for that matter. Pick it up. है ना, आप उठाओ और आप देखो, and you try to see it कि अच्छा, okay, this is how this is happening. And then, like, this is how I have learned. I watched a film and I just switched my perspective once, and then I thought, okay, yes, how did they drive the car like this? Okay, nice. And then I just did nothing, because I'm not a film school graduate or I don't have a degree. I just have the internet. I literally googled it and I got my answers. And it is that information that got me excited. So that excitement became directly proportional to my curiosity, and I kept following it. So that's what I told her, that you can be curious about even the simplest of films. If a Hera Pheri is making you laugh, why are you laughing? If a Bhagam Bhag is making you laugh and you're saying कि यार ये कितना अच्छा joke है, why is that joke so good? Why is
You
that
know,
joke so good?
yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm. You know, so I sort of like I have a different perspective on this,
Sure,
okay?
sure.
Um, I just I think for me, life in general, and of course, cinema is very heart-led. Okay, when I say heart, it has to. I have to feel. You know, you could have technically done crazy stuff, and I can go. You know, we can get into it and we can discuss it and all of that from a different perspective. Yes, that's a conversation. You know, from a different perspective. But I feel that any piece of art, or any cinema or any film for that matter, it's about what it makes you feel, right? So for me, I think what I personally notice and I personally is what I'm feeling, is how much of the emotionality of the film is able to get through to me, whether it's a horror or it's a love story or is it's a drama. How much am I feeling what I'm supposed to feel through the film, through every scene, through the whole film in general? I mean, so for me, it's all feeling based. You know, I look for honesty. I think for me, the one thing that I do look for in a film in general is honesty. You can, and somehow, and I think that honesty is something that tells me कि if I'm able to, मतलब मुझे समझ आ जाता है the moment also I'm an actor of course, so देख देख के मैं भी समझी हूँ, and it also helps me in my work. But the moment there is a fake there is a dishonest moment in a performance. Now, even a moment, even if it's blink of an eye, I catch it. I know this was dishonest. So as you said, yes, the more you see, the more you learn. But for me, beyond how is a film made, which is also interesting to know, my focus goes on the emotions of it, the feelings of it. How much am I
Yeah,
connecting with it at a heart level?
absolutely.
So yeah.
No, absolutely agreed. If I am crying at a particular moment in Titanic, why is that happening to me? Of course I have to understand ki okay, if this is making me cry, of course it's great moment of acting and everything. Then I feel that okay, there are so many other elements also that are bringing together and eliciting a certain emotion. There is the music, there is the setting, there is a particular way an event has been staged at a point जिस जो हो रहा है, और उसके बाद आपको ओके लाइक यू हैव दोज मोमेंट्स ऑफ रियलाइजेशन इन अ स्क्रिप्ट, एंड दैट्स व्हाट आई एम नॉट एबल टू मे बी आर्टिकुलेट दिस, बट I feel that there are moments that have been brought together in a film in order to make you feel something, right?
Oh, so
So
my perspective on that, can I?
yeah,
Like,
yeah, yeah.
may I?
Please, 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 please.
This is where I give actors, especially, utmost credit. Okay. Yes, you have music, you have the sound, you have the way it's shot, you have the way it's framed, you have the way the person is looking, all of that, like production design, everything, of course, combined together, makes for a film, like for a film to be a film or whatever. But if your actor is not able to deliver, like see these are see अगर आपकी अगर सपोज कुछ नहीं है, सपोज मैंने बस ऐसे कैमरा लगा दिया, पीछे ब्लैंक वॉल है, एक वाइट वॉल है, मैं खड़ी हूँ, मैंने एक लाइन बोली या जो भी है, चलो मैंने लाइन भी नहीं बोली, एक मोमेंट आया, उसमें मैंने कुछ फील किया, मैंने एक्सप्रेस किया, that in itself is going to arouse a reaction from you. And right now, it is not supported by all that we are talking about, right? So, this is where an actor becomes the most important, because actually, everything from the writing to every department coming together is happening so that in that moment, the actor is able to deliver what he or she is supposed to. एंड उसके बाद अगर वो निकल गया सही, उसके बाद ये जो चीजें हैं उसको वो कहीं और ले जाती हैं. But then also what happens a lot of times is because your actor is not able to, because your actor is not able to deliver, all this has become a way to sort of distract the audience. It's like, अच्छा ये नहीं कर पाया या इतना नहीं निकल पाया, इसमें ये डाल दो, ये म्यूजिक डाल दो, रोने वाला म्यूजिक डाल दो कि मतलब और फील हो. Then you are जबरदस्ती trying to add all these elements to get that
Yeah,
reaction,
yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm
right?
not. I'm not saying that the actor is not doing anything at all. Of course, it is the actor who is ultimately emoting that, ultimately bringing that emotion on scene, which has been written and shot, and there is a specific music for that. I think it is a combination of everything, and it is all these elements coming together is like again coming back to the conversation that which I was telling my friend, that if you look at all these elements coming together, so for that you don't need a specific film कि नहीं आपको मदर इंडिया देखनी पड़ेगी या फिर कोई एक
Yeah, yeah,
स्पेसिफिक.
yeah,
हाँ,
yeah, yeah. You
ऐसा
can
नहीं है.
literally find all of this. You can literally learn filmmaking and understand films more
Right.
through any kind of film. Like it
Absolutely,
doesn't,
because a
yeah,
film is a film.
yeah,
Ultimately, a film is a film. उसका चाहे सब्जेक्ट कोई भी हो, चाहे वो कॉमेडी हो, चाहे ट्रेजेडी हो, कुछ भी हो.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
right. That is there. Uh, what is the biggest misconception about actors that you have come across?
कि ये तो कुछ नहीं करते हैं, मतलब क्या करते हैं ये लोग,
Like they
they,
actually say this कि
yeah,
अरे okay.
मतलब like it's almost like why are they given so much importance, you know Of course, it's overdone in our industry in terms of, the whole star system and just being like everyone just making a hawa about, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. But no, I mean, if there is an actor, and when I say an actor, I mean an actor. Uh, they they do. That's what I just like. What I just told you. If you have a good actor, आपकी स्क्रिप्ट लेवल पे आपकी अलग अलग लेवल पे कमियां छुप सकती हैं वो छुपा सकता है purely based on their performance but like on a set which is really sad and I don't think this is the case abroad in the West actors are treated not I mean not so much as that star thing but they are given the respect of people know what they bring to the table. People know that we are all a crew of 100, 200 people. We are all working hard so that this person can give us this shot, you know, and we can, and that's how we'll be able to move on, right? Because no matter how much behind the scenes work goes into everything, if the performances fail, if the actors are not able to deliver, it does fall flat. So like here on the sets, I have seen it for years now. It's almost like people expect that aap to, on one hand they don't think you think much of you in terms of कि क्या ही करते हैं ये लोग, why are they given this much. On the other hand, they also expect you to be magicians, कि मतलब हल्ला हू चल रही है, सब बातें कर रहे हैं, सब अपना काम कर रहे हैं, ठाक ठाक सब आवाज हो रही है, this that there's an intense scene that an actor is supposed to go into. Forget about an intense scene. I'm saying even in an intense scene, you know that the next shot is about this actor and this is a heavy scene, and the actor needs to perform and focus and this and that. Nobody gives a shit. The whole unit is doing their, running around and bate all day. Like nobody gives you that 1 second of, you guys, we have an actor on set. Everyone, calm down. So before you go into a shot, people just think कि इस chaos के बीच में एक्शन कहेंगे, एक्टर परफॉर्म करेगा और फाड़ के जाएगा. I mean, no, actor is a human being, right? Give the actor that respect and that space to be like, okay, this is tough for her, this is tough for him, this is tough for anybody. आप किसी नॉर्मल बंदे को कैमरे के सामने खड़ा कर दो, वो स्माइल नहीं कर पाते ढंग से यार. एंड वी आर जस्ट एक्सपेक्टेड टू बी लाइक कुछ भी चल रहा है हमारे चारों और वी शुड बी गिविंग आवर शॉट राइट. So there is this sense of people don't take what you do seriously or think that ये तो कोई भी कर सकता है. And then they don't create that atmosphere on set to just give you that little space before a shot कि यार वो 10 सेकेंड बिफोर यू कैन जस्ट एवरीवनस लाइक सब अपना काम खत्म करना चाहते हैं. यू नो सब अपना काम कर रहे हैं एंड देन लाइटिंग सेट हुई द फर्स्ट एडी कॉल्स आउट लाइक ओके रेडी दिस एंड समटाइम्स actors and I've seen other actors also be like, can I just get 10 seconds, like, can you guys just understand what we do here? So in general there is no understanding of what we do and what it takes for us to do what we do. It's almost considered like a child's play. So I see that lack of respect for see jab, like we always say, जब डीओपी लाइटिंग कर रहा होता है, आप डीओपी को बोलते हो अगर जल्दी करने को, डीओपी बोलेगा एक बार लिसन ये है, टाइम लगेगा, इतना टाइम लगेगा, यू गिव देम टाइम ना.
हाँ, सनराइज का शॉट है तो सनराइज आना चाहिए पहले तभी.
जो
हाँ
भी है मतलब
हाँ.
आपको अगर नॉर्मल लाइट भी लगानी है, आपको चेंज करना है, जो भी बल्ब हो गया फ्यूज हो गया, आप यू विल टेक दोस 2 minutes एंड यू आर गिवन दैट टाइम. हेयर मेकअप है, यू विल गिव देम दैट टाइम. ये है, यू विल गिव देम साउंड का प्रॉब्लम है, यू विल गिव देम दैट टाइम. एक्टर्स को क्यों नहीं वो टाइम दिया जाता है? लाइक एक्टर्स को क्यों चलो 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 चलो, लाइक दिस इज होल सेंस ऑफ दैट. एंड lot of times, not a lot of times, but a few times I do like have to shout and say, can we have some silence, please? I demand it. because people just do not have the awareness of calm down, like whatever. So this is something that is a that is very, very prevalent, I would say.
Right. Is that one of also one of course I'm sure along with bringing more stories in the landscape of cinema, is this also one of the biggest motivations for you to start your own production company?
It is, yeah, all of it put together, what I have seen happening in the industry, in the way we do things, in the way we treat each other, in the way we treat the different people from um, we treat how we treat them based on the place they hold in the hierarchy of a set. It's everything put together. Of course, at the core of all of this is to really make a beautiful cinema that I resonate with, the stories, kind of stories that I want to tell. Bringing in a lot of fresh talent, in terms of writers, directors, other departments. Like and I think more than that, I've always believed that creating cinema is a teamwork. It's a very, very collaborative process. It's not a one person job, you know. Of course, you are following someone's vision. There's one person, but everyone has to come together to do their job well to really create something magical, right? So I love I mean, now it's changing, but in the initial years, there was no sense of, oh, we are doing this together, you know. I want to, and I think for me, for some reason, um, I I see, when I'm on a set, I see how many people come together to take that one shot to, get through that one day, and just everyone's, at the top of their game to make that day happen. And I'm like, so many people come together. It's such a beautiful and overwhelming sight sometimes. And I think, just to give, what if everyone, most of them feel like it's not just a job, but there are people who feel like, oh, it's a job. I'm just getting paid for this. It's a job. But what if you gave them a little more than their daily wages, and gave them a little, um, a sense of, we are together, we are doing this together, you're as important as anybody else. So I think these little things I miss, and I want to get. I also believe that um, everyone's sort of gotten a little lost in the rut of काम करना है, पैसे बनाने हैं, like people are just, there's a lot of work in the industry. In the last 1 year, it has kind of slowed down, but otherwise there was from COVID to last year, everybody was busy. Everybody was busy, all HODs, and there was so much work for everybody. But I also feel in the midst of, doing stuff to pay our bills and keep ourselves engaged and busy, there are also a lot of people in the industry who believe in good cinema, who came here to do something beyond making money and paying their bills. They came here because they love it. And I think my attempt is to also bring such like-minded people together, and form like a sort of a community, form like a tribe, and just help each other and do things, for each other. And I think that sense of community is being lost in the industry. Everyone's just become about, मुझे क्या फायदा हो रहा है, मुझे क्या मिल रहा है, what am I doing in this? It is not, I'm sorry, but this is not an industry which is based on me, myself, and whatever, it is a place where people come together to do something which is bigger than you, to create something which is bigger than you. So I think just um, bringing this belief back in people, just making people realize that, listen, we can still do what we want to do, and there's a way out. We just gotta. So yeah, it's a very um, it's a different like I do have a few things in mind in the way I want to do things, and I want everyone to, like, something as simple as people just being paid on time, you know. आप अपने बड़े बड़े एक्टर्स को और एचओडीज को खुश रख लेते हो उनकी पेमेंट्स रिलीज करके, बट द पीपल हु एक्चुअली नीड द मनी आप उनको भगाते रहते हो, चक्कर कटवाते रहते हो, you know. So I just don't like any of this, you know. So simple things like that, just paying people on time, just um, mm, yeah, I just want I feel that there are a lot of times that films, you know, you work on things, and I also hear it from others, and they've had a shitty experience through that. You know, everyone's cribbing about it, about how things are on set, how this one is and that one is, and it's almost like ये कब खत्म होगा. You know, there's a sense of ये खत्म कब होगा, पैसे दो और, you know, निकलो यहाँ से types. I mean, that is exactly the opposite of what creating something should feel like. You know, it's not the destination. It's not like जब film बनेगी तब बस वही बन जाए बस जो भी है. No, it's the journey. It's a journey that people come together to take. You know, I think that journey has to mean something to everyone individually in that film or in that on that set. You know, so just creating a sense like, just I hope I'll be able to, you know, do something even close to what I'm talking about. I think I'll be able to.
Like what you said about collaboration, and there are so many people who are involved in the process, because like if you watch a film like Pani, or if you watch a film like any film for that matter, irrespective of the subject or irrespective of, when you watch a film,
But Pani is not made, no?
no, I'm just saying, sorry, if
Jal.
Jal, I'm so sorry, I'm so sorry. Wow. Jal and Pan. Wow. Wow, sorry. If you watch that film, or if you watch any film for that matter, you see a finished product, you see a polished product, और वो आपको बहुत ही सीमलेस लग रहा है ना, कि मतलब अरे ये हो गया, फिर ये हो गया, फिर ये हो गया, अच्छा इन्होंने इतना बड़ा ये सेट यहाँ लगा दिया, अच्छा ये ऐसे कर दिया, वो वैसे कर दिया. बट it must have taken, I don't know how many retakes, it must have taken so many permissions, conditions. So yeah, it is a lot of, it is a lot of hard work that is there.
Yeah, it
That
is.
is,
It is. I think I'm saying that sometimes I really feel that कभी कभी ना बहुत मन करता है कि यार बाहर वालों को ना एक दिन सेट पे बुला लो. Let them just see, be there for one day and see कि actually होता क्या है. Like how much of mehnat of everybody goes into, you know, that just that one day of shoot. Okay. Having said that, honestly, it's not people's problems when they say अरे ये फिल्म बकवास है, or they say ये फिल्म अच्छी है. I mean, that is something. It's not an excuse to say कि अच्छा हमने बुरी फिल्म बनाई है तो बट देखो तो हमने कितनी मेहनत की है. नहीं, आई अंडरस्टैंड हमने कितनी भी मेहनत की हो, आपको नहीं पसंद आई, आपको नहीं पसंद आई, ठीक है, वो उसमें कोई दो राय नहीं है. बट आई एम सेइंग जो जो ये बाहर वालों का परसेप्शन इन जनरल है कि यार यहाँ तो सब मस्ती करते रहते हैं, इतने पैसे होते हैं इनके पास, ग्लैमर है, पार्टीज में जाते हैं, ये करते हैं, अच्छे अच्छे कपड़े पहनते हैं. आई एम लाइक, you know you know what I mean. There's a completely different side to it, which clearly people are not aware of, and which is understandable. But नहीं यार, मतलब खून पसीना, लिटरली ये खून पसीने वाला जॉब है यार. And I'm not just saying actors, everybody, every single person in a team on a set is working their ass off, yeah. You know, to just get that one shot, get that one scene, like one shot at a time. You're moving from one to, you know, you're moving through the day. It's beautiful. It's so emotional for me. It is so um I mean, it just makes my heart feel full when I'm on a set and when I'm seeing that, oh, this is what we are working towards, you know. And people unfortunately don't see that side of it, which is okay. But हाँ यार, मतलब जो दिखता है उसके नीचे बहुत कुछ, बहुत मेहनत जाती है, बहुत कुछ होता है यार.
absolutely. My very last question, and then we can wrap this up. Uh, what are some of the films that have had the maximum impact in your life, especially as an actor?
especially as an actor. Uh, there's so much good cinema, man, and I grew up on very, very, very hardcore Bollywood stuff, okay? The first memory that I do have of watching a film is actually Manoj Kumar's Kranti. Okay, and this was again in my गांव because वो VCR वगैरह आ रही था. One of my फूफा came from Iraq or something and वो लेके आए थे, right? So रात को सब VCR लगा के cassette लाके, and we used to all have like a little night where it's a movie night kind of a thing. So I remember this Kranti movie. The second memory, clear memory I have of watching another film is Roop Ki Rani Choron Ka Raja. Okay, and I was just like fascinated by it. कि ये कौन सी दुनिया है, you know? Uh, the first time I actually went in a theater and watched a film, I went and saw Titanic when I was in 10th standard during my board exams. Okay, उससे पहले मैंने English film I think ऐसे कहीं छुई भी नहीं होगी. Okay, and Titanic was there, and I don't know. I was in Visakhapatnam, I remember, and I had my in the middle of my board exams, and I just told my dad that, Papa, I want to go and see this film. And my dad is very chilled out. My dad is not one of those अरे exams आ रहे हैं कौन movie देखता है. मैं exams के बीच में मैं ऐसे 3-3 4-4 घंटे बैडमिंटन रोज खेलती थी because badminton was my thing. So I went and watched Titanic. That was the first time I watched, and I don't know what to say about that experience. I mean, I think I was just transported to like another world. I mean, I had never seen anything more beautiful than Kate Winslet in my life. I'm sure a lot of people think the same way. Leonardo was like, whatever, like he was, and I think the whole experience, like, मतलब तब तो सिनेमा मिनेमा का कोई चक्कर ही नहीं था. मतलब तब तो फिल्म फिल्म होती थी and we would just go and watch it. And that just, I don't know, that's my first real memory of watching something that just like I think did something to me rather than me saying blew my mind, of course. But I think it was a stronger feeling than that. Something just like I just felt so much through watching something in front of me happening to some other people. Something I think kind of got stirred inside me. But still there was no idea of being an actor or whatever. कभी कुछ था ही नहीं. Then I remember watching Kareeb. उस टाइम करीब रिलीज हुई थी अगेन इन विशाखापट्टनम आई वाज हम नेवी के सिनेमा में देखने गए थे अगेन अ ब्यूटीफुल फिल्म so yeah, like my journey to film and world cinema has happened much after I joined the industry because उससे पहले मुझे कोई ना मुझे पता था ना मुझे कोई access था. Some of the films that have really stayed with me, um, it's very difficult to answer right now, but I remember a Cinderella Man. I remember a Shawshank Redemption. I remember I remember my mami mein, when I just started out, I would go and attend mamis like every year, you know, teen char din. It used to be like a movie watching thing. So that's when I got really exposed to a lot of stuff around the world. Um, बहुत सारी फिल्में हैं यार मतलब ऐसा impact I think a Notting Hill. uh, I mean, the first time I saw um, um, Meryl Streep, I think I don't know which film was that, but I also remember watching her Bridges of Madison County. I was in, for some reason, I have just taken a lot. I mean, I feel a lot towards the Western actresses in terms of the work they do, in terms of, how they sort of just do what they do. So in the last, I think 7 to 10 years, I've really shifted my focus towards the cinema that happens in the world, in Hollywood and otherwise. Like I remember watching Baran, the Irani film, right? Of Mr. Majid Majidi. I think it was a Majid Majidi film. I remember watching that in one of the festivals, and I was uh, again like, I was like, what is this? Like, because you are in Bollywood and you see what you see, and you're like, what are these films? Like, who are these people making what they make? And then over the years, of course, I have become a huge fan of Asghar Farhadi's films, A Separation, and then Hero, and then um, Salesman. Like, I mean, he's just something else. And um, mm, I do remember, और क्या देखा है मैंने यार, कुछ हिंदी बता दो यार, लोग बोलेंगे क्या अंग्रेज बन रही है मतलब. Like Mother India is of course a film that we all. I remember. Oh yeah, I remember watching Sahib Biwi or Gulam, and the old Devdas, in which Dilip Kumar was there, and the Sahib Biwi Gulam, which with Meena Kumari, and who was the actor? Gurudat, yeah, Gurudat Saab and Wahida Rahman, no? I think Wahida ji was in it. And I was like, I mean, I when I look at these black and white films, I'm like, यार हमने कहाँ से शुरू किया था? मतलब these films were fantastic. चाहे आप writing बोल दो, चाहे the way they were shot, the way they were performed. So sometimes when I look back at these films and I look at where we are today, I do question that, are we progressing or are we regressing? क्या हम सीख मतलब क्या हम सीख के और अच्छा कर रहे हैं हम, या हमने सीखना बंद कर दिया? We're just getting worse, you know. So a lot of these black and white films, I have seen a bunch of them actually, and I just love them. Like, I just love them. Um, yeah, like even our Rishikesh Mukherjee films, yeah, Choti Si Baat, and then there's Golmaal, and then one of my all-time favorites is Chupke Chupke. Oh my God, that film is something else. I love that film, and I think every actor has, you know, hit it out of the park. They are all brilliant. It's beautiful. And you know what I love in that film, which I see missing these days, is how so many big actors of that time have come together, playing their roles, coming together to just make a kick-ass film, and I really miss that in Bollywood. There's no, and which is very prevalent in the West. They all come together, when you if there's an ensemble film, they'll get the biggest names together and they will make it happen. यहाँ पे it is a different kind of a struggle. So, I mean, I don't know what are we caught up with. So yeah, I mean, sometimes I feel that we're just, when you look at good cinema, like I remember watching Anatomy of a Fall last year when it released in the theaters. I was like, I was blown away, man. That actress, that kid, the dog. I'm like, how? How did you make the dog do what he's doing? How? So it's so fascinating when I see these films and I'm like, कैसे करते हैं यार? ये क्या कर पाते हैं जो जो हम नहीं कर पाते, और हम क्यों नहीं कर पाते, So so yeah, there are a lot of films. Yeah, there films तो मतलब are endless in terms of what inspires you and what makes you learn and grow and want to do something better. Like, I love Sicario, Emily Blunt's Sicario. I love it. I love it. Like the first, especially the first one. So बहुत कुछ है यार, इतना कुछ है देखने को कि मतलब, yeah.